Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. We have a Montblanc, and this is Around the World in 80 Days special edition. We have a Majohn Titanium TI 136. We have a Visconti Extase de. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Lava edition. This is a Bronze Age oversize. We have a Conway Stewart Centary with an overlay or filigree made by Henry Simpole. We have a Parker Prestige Ruthenium Chisel. We have a Montblanc Writer's Edition. And this is the LePetit Prince Aviator Solitaire Doué. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi. And we have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani 90. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up. So this is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. This is a beautiful material. When I saw this at Goulet, I really wanted it. I ordered it in a broad nib because I wanted to not put Diamine Earl Grey in, but I wanted to put the Dominant Industry Earl Grey tea in, which is more of an orange ink. So I ordered it with a broad nib. This one, I wanted a medium nib. This was sent to me and gifted to me by a subscriber, Bill. So thanks again for that. I really do like this medium nib a lot. As you can see from my previous currently inked, I am writing with this more than the broad nib. It does come with a number 6 size Schmidt medium nib. You can post the cap, but the beauty of this material is that you've got Earl Grey tea and lavender infused into that resin. You can post the cap. It is a really beautiful pen. I've reviewed a lot of Benus, a lot that were on loan to me from Derek at Stonecott Fine Writing Supplies in the UK. I do have a few more. I did go for the Scepters, and I think I've got a few other Euphorias, and I've got a Tiger's Eye as well, which is a talisman. But the Earl Grey tea Euphoria, the Euphoria is the size that I like, but the Earl Grey tea is the best model that I have by far. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc Around the World in 80 Days. You've got the Montblanc Snowflake there. You've got a Ruby Diamond there as well. And you have this beautiful engraving on the cap and also on the body. And then you also have a gold plaque there of an elephant, which is, if you have read the story, is in Around the World in 80 Days. And if I unscrew, unscrew the cap, you'll see a number 6 size Montblanc medium nib with a hot air balloon on. You can't post the caps on these, unfortunately, on a lot of the writers' editions, but this is a pen I really do like. I think you do have to be a little bit careful. This is wood. It is going to maybe accept some hand oil, so if you are a person that hands lotion on or hand cream on, I'd be a little bit careful on this because you are going to grease up and grease or cream is going to get into the cracks here on the wood. I don't know if that will degrade the wood over time, but it's just something I would be a little bit more cautious on because I don't believe this wood is coated or lacquered. It doesn't feel like it is. So it might be treated though to not accept any other substance, but it's just something I would be a little bit wary of. Likewise, knocking over a bottle of ink is probably going to stain that a little bit as well. The next one inked up is a Majohn Titanium TI 136. This really is a Montblanc knockoff. You don't have the snowflake there though. But it is that hammered effect that you would see on a Montblanc Martelet pen. It is a piston filling pen. You do have a Montblanc-esque ink window as well. I know other pen manufacturers have done that, but it typically normally is Montblanc that does that. mostly. And then you've got a number 6 size lemon nib. It's a medium nib. This came as a little bit more of a Fude nib. I've sort of ground it into a little bit more of an Architect nib. And it's an Architect medium. I can post the cap, but it posts on and grips onto the piston knob, so you've got to be a little bit careful. There is play on this knob. I don't know if you can see that there, but and I have that also on some Montblancs, like a Montblanc 146, even a 149. I find has a little bit of a play, and even some of the writers editions as well. I think it's totally normal on a piston. I've seen it on other piston pens. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Extase de Oud, and I had this inked up last week. You've got this cage here, which you unscrew and you put cotton wool or fluff in there, and I always have trouble screwing this on. I think it's because the cap or the clip protrudes a little bit and knocks my finger. It's got this lovely black resin with some gold dust in it as well. You've got this lovely overlay filigree here. The idea, though, is the name of the pen is Extase de Oud. The de Oud is the fragrance, and if you unscrew this here, you can hold a good 3 or 4 milliliters of perfume or EDT, eau de toilette. You have a little dabber, and you would dab it in here, and then you would fragrance the cotton wool there, and then you would screw that back up again. Interesting take. I think this came out after the Speakeasy, which was similar, but you put alcohol in it, which I do have that pen as well. You do have a number 6 size Visconti 23 cap palladium medium nib. The ink reservoir is a push-pull piston, because you really can't get a lot inside the body here. Unlike the Speakeasy, which is just a small cartridge, but I do have a squeeze converter in that one. That's not inked up, though, at the moment. I probably should ink it up again at some point, because, again, that's another pen that I love writing with. Another pen that I love writing with is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age Oversize. This is made of basaltic lava and resin ground up together. I got my initials on that pen. And it's just a very smooth material, quite porous though. It's a Paravac filling pen. It's a single reservoir, hook safe lock. It's got a concave section. A number 6 size 23 cap palladium nib. I got this in a fine nib. I can post that cap as well. And it posts deeply and securely. It's a nice pen. It's a lovely nib. And I haven't written with this a lot lately, and I'm just trying to add that one back into my rotation. I'm trying to add in more pens into my rotation, but I'm also trying to add in the pens I like writing with more so. Another pen that I bought this year was the, I would say a Noto. It's not a Noto. It's a Conway Stewart. It's a centenary to celebrate 100 years of Conway Stewart in existence. This filigree overlay was made by the silversmith Henry Simpole, who sadly passed away in 2020 around the heart of the pandemic. It's a beautiful pen. I always wanted a more traditional, a modern but traditional Conway Stewart before they closed their doors. And I always wanted a Henry Simpole pen, so I was glad that I could buy this pen. This has got one of the original Conway Stewart two-tone nibs there. It's a number 6 size. It's a broad nib, but that is a really nice writing nib. You can kind of post the cap, and it will post, but the thing is, there isn't a lot of depth to that post. And it's also going to make it quite long. So typically I do not post that cap. The next pen inked up is the Parker Duofold Prestige Ruthenium Chisel. You've got the Parker logo there. You've got the arrow or feather clip. This is a really lovely pen. I wanted one of these for at least 6 months to a year when I saw a friend at my pen club that I host, he had bought one. He'd imported it from the US, and he told me what he paid for it, and I would have paid the same amount for it. But this one, there were others in Japan that were selling for a lot more. This one I actually got for less than what he paid for. It was a seller in the UK. It's got a number 6 size Parker duofold nib. I've got a fine nib on it. It's a cartridge converter. I would have liked a medium nib, but actually this writes a little bit more towards a medium, so I don't mind that so much. I have got medium nibs I could swap out if I wanted to, but I find that actually I'm liking this as it is. So I have that one inked up, but it really is a nice polished metal pen, and it's got a bit of weight to it. It's not the longest pen I have, clearly you can see in this pen tray, but it's a decent weight, and I do like writing with that pen, and I bought it this year. The next pen inked up is a Montblanc, and this is the LePetit Prince Aviator Solitaire Doué. You've got the Montblanc snow cap, you've got a star for the stars in the night sky, you've got the planet, you've got the plane. This is really like the helmet that aviators used to wear in like the 1930s, 1940s. It's just like a leather, I want to say helmet, but it's not a helmet. It's not traditional what you would call a helmet today. There was no padding. It was just like a leather hat and mask, really. So this is leather, and it is hand stitched, I believe. The body here is platinum. I think it's laser etched, and you've got the sand dunes here, and then you've got the LePetit Prince there as well. This is a beautiful pen, quite weighty, about 75 grams in weight. Number 6 size, a nib, a medium nib there. You can't post the cap, sadly, on this, but you can't on a lot of the Montblanc writers editions or homages to various writers. Unfortunately, they're just not designed to do so. The earlier writers editions, I know the Jules Verne you can post. I don't know about others, but I know I've got the Jules Verne and you can post that one, but that's the only Montblanc writers edition at the moment that I have that you can post the cap on. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi. I always think of this as like really my 3rd or 4th grail pen. I know I did buy a few more before I bought this and the Corsani 90, which is next. I think it's probably number 8 and 9 possibly, but I bought this from a good friend. I consider him a good friend, Stefano from Stilograph Corsani in Rome. I bought this at the same time as the Corsani 90. A beautiful red demonstrator from Visconti. It's in the Homo Sapiens. It's called the Caput Mundi. It's a power vac. It's a demonstrator. It's a double reservoir. Homo Sapiens. You've got the hook safe lock. You've got a concave section there. A number 6 size 23 cap palladium medium nib. I find these pens really well balanced, the Homo Sapiens. You can post the cap as well if you want to. It really is a lovely pen, and I think that's why I added a lot of Homo Sapiens to my collection, and a lot of Viscontis, but more so I'd say Homo Sapiens are the... I've got Divinas, I've got other pens, I've got the Il Magnificos, but out of all of them, I think the most model I've got from Visconti is the Homo Sapiens. And then you have the Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi that I also bought at the same time. You can see here, beautiful stacked celluloid. I've got my initials on there. It's a beautiful pen. Again, it's a Visconti Homo Sapiens. It's a power vac. It's a single reservoir. You've got the hook safe lock. You've got a concave section. You've also got a number 6 size Visconti 23 cap palladium medium nib. Used to have a stub nib in there. I did buy it with a medium nib. I then swapped it out for a stub nib, and then more recently I put a medium nib back in, and I'm loving it. Again, I can post the cap. I just feel that these Visconti Homo Sapiens are just well balanced, really nice pens. And for me, I can write the longest amount of time with a Homo sapiens and not get any sort of hand fatigue. They are just so comfortable to write with. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens Coney ink for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up today is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey tea. So we'll do an ink swatch. I think that's remnants of ink from a previous currently inked or review. So we'll do an ink swatch here. This is a beautiful writing nib. This is Oxford optic paper. It will feather a little bit. It will bleed through a little bit when you have a wet writing nib. It's not as good as Tomoe River paper in terms of the ink absorption, but I like it, and I can. In the past, I've been able to get a lot of these pads, and I stocked up massively on these. So this is the Benu Euphoria, and it is the Earl Grey tea. It's a medium, and it's a steel Smith nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. But that is a beautiful ink. I just love that ink. It's a dark grey ink. I always early on thought I didn't like grey ink because it reminded me of pencils, and I really don't like pencils much. I always have a heavier hand, so I would always find I would be breaking pencil leads. And I think that's what put me off of grey inks, but that ink I do like, and there's a number of other grey inks that I do like now as well. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc Around the World in 80 Days. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a lovely, bright, punchy orange. So this is the Montblanc Around the World in 80 Days. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Sailor, Gentle, and it's Kin Makusai, which is a lovely orange ink. I think I still have about 3 or 4 bottles of that now. I have been slowly getting through that ink. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc-esque Martelet. It's actually the Majohn Titanium TI 136. We'll do an ink swatch here. And now that I tuned this nib, it writes perfectly. Didn't write perfectly out of the box. This is the Majohn Titanium TI 136. It's a medium that I ordered, and it's a steel nib. It's a lemon nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which again, I love that ink. I do ink it up in a lot of grey or silver pens. It's just an ink that I like a lot. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Ecstasy d'Oud, or as I used to call it, d'Oud. We'll do an ink swatch here. This is a very bouncy 23 karat palladium nib. So this is the Visconti Ecstasy d'Oud, as in the fragrance. It's a medium, and it's a 23 karat palladium nib. The ink in here is Diamine Majestic Purple, but that is an ink that I always dedicate to that pen. I just love it a lot. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age Oversize. So again, we'll just do an ink swatch. Now this is, again, it's a fine nib, but it's a nice writing wet nib. So this is the Visconti Homo Sapiens, Bronze Age, and it is the oversized version. It's a 23 cat palladium nib. They used to do a MIDI version, which was a shorter, thinner version, which was a piston, not a power vac. And then the ink in here is diamine ochre, which is a nice brown ink. One of my favourite brown inks, I would say. The next pen inked up is the Conway Stewart Centenary. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I do need to actually just double check what ink this is. I'm pretty sure I know it, but... Well, I know it's one of 2 inks. Or, well, possibly 3 inks, maybe. So this is what the Conway Stewart Centenary. Yeah. I thought it was that ink. So this is the Conway Stewart Centenary. It's a broad 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is KWZ Grey Lux. Now, it could have been Diamine Graphite. It could have been Diamine Earl Grey. But I would have very much doubted that. I thought it was KWZ Grey Lux or Diamine Graphite. The next pen inked up is the Parker Duofold Prestige Ruthenium Chisel. So we'll do another ink swatch here. Now, I do know what this ink is. It's the Parker Duofold Prestige, and it's the Ruthenium Chisel, and it's a fine 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which is a nice ink. And yeah, I just love that ink. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc, and this is the LePetit Prince Aviator Solitaire Doué. So again, we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a beautiful writing nib. So it's the Montblanc LePetit Prince Aviator Solitaire Doué. It's a medium and it's an 18 cat gold nib. The ink in here is KWZ Nuki Brown, which is a lovely brown. It's a little bit of an orangey brown, mid-brown ink, but it's an ink that I like a lot. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is, again, a very nice writing nib. It's the Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Ho. But that again is a very nice red lubricated ink. I just find it writes, that nib writes very well. And then the last pen inked up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani 90. So we'll do an ink swatch again. But the nib on that Caput Mundi and the nib on this one, they're just nice, wet writing nibs, bouncy nibs as well. So this is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani 90 in a medium 23 cap palladium nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Majestic Purple, which is a lovely purple coloured ink. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montblanc Around the World in 80 Days in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Sailor Gentle Kinmakusai. We have a Majohn Titanium TI 136 in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Ecstasy d'Oud in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Majestic Purple. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age Oversize in a fine 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Conway Stewart Centenary with a filigree overlay made by Henry Simpole in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Grey Lux. We have a Parker Duofold Prestige Ruthenium Chisel in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montblanc LePetit Prince Aviator Solitaire Doué in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Nuki Brown. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Ho Ho Ho. And we have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani 90 in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Majestic Purple. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.